Good morning, everyone. Today we have the luck of being together with Sebastiano Peluso, who's right now an independent consultant, an expert on touristic services. He's been working with several companies. He's collaborating right now with the Trade Chambers of Commerce of Milan and Touring Club as well. And he's an expert especially in developing technological platforms to deliver different kinds of touristic services. Elisa Conti should have been here, but she had family problems, so she couldn't come. But I think that Sebastiano will make an excellent presentation. So the floor is yours. We have 1 hour and 20 minutes, 1 hour and a half more or less. Exploit him, as you did last time with the other external speaker, for questions, suggestions, comments.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, my name is Sebastiano Peluso, and as Nicoletta said before, I work as an independent consultant, mainly on marketing and ICT projects. The industry where I did most of my experience is tourism. So today we are going to see a brief description of the industry and a model related to the destination management. So tools and strategies to manage a touristic destination. I was supposed to be here with Elisa Conti. There is a friend of mine and colleague. We both study this industry. Elisa from the academical point of view, while I have more the practice coming from the market. So unfortunately, Elisa had a problem, so she's not here. And I'm trying to cover also her part that is related to market, even if probably she will be more deep. But anyway, if you want to ask information, I'll try to give data or whatever she prepared. So, what's the storyboard of the lesson? We first of all we give an outlook of the tourism industry, some statistics and some issues that are typical of this industry. Basically, we are understanding the market that is made of huge players and small destination that we call community destination. So the idea is to understand which are the issue and the market arena where the community destinations are fighting, and to present a model that help this community destination to compete in this kind of market. And we are going to show the application of the model to the case of Mantova, a province of Italy. Okay, some statistics about tourism. Tourism is the first industry in the world, and it's an increasing the value of GDP year by year. One of the statistics we use to evaluate the market is the arrivals. And as you can see in the chart, arrivals are reaching the number of 1 billion of arrivals worldwide. There are certain periods where there is no growth, mainly are related to big phenomena like September 11 or the SARS flu that has impact in tourism, but mainly is an industry that is growing a lot. If we enter inside the market, we can see that as destination, Europe has more than half of the market share. Consider that Europe has 3 of the top 5 destinations in the global ranking. Following there's Asia and Pacific and Americas, plus other players. The interesting stuff is also to see the growth rate that, by the way, see Europe with a limited growth rate compared, for example, to the Middle Eastern destinations and the Asia Pacific. So market share is moving in the following years with new competitors showing up in this market. This is the worldwide ranking of the destination. Data is not very updated. It's 2006, but it didn't change. We see France and Spain at the first two position, with Italy at the 5th place. We were at the first place in the 70s, and then we start going down because basically problem of Italy, as probably you know, is related to lack of marketing strategy, lack of a unique investment as a destination, and a level of services that is not at the same level of the market. So we are still in the top 5, but considering that we have more than half of the heritage of the world, we can do better. So situation of Italy is a situation that we are describing about the community destination. Destination that has a lot of cultural heritage and that are used to wait for tourists to come. They don't spend in marketing, they are not innovative in services. So now with a scenario that is changing, there are a lot of problems in being competitive. How the market is changing. In the last 2 decades, we have been seeing the concentration of the market among huge tour operator and big player. Companies that move very, very big number of tourists and concentrate them in a small part of the destination. You can see the red part in the global map. You can see that are mainly the area where there are touristic resorts managed by the huge global tour operator, and they work mainly on the price of the touristic product. So being so big, they can have a low cost of the product, so they can sell very interesting packages at price not comparable with what it was even decades before. If you consider that with 600 euro you can spend a whole week in North Africa, like Tunisia, with a flight and 7 days in a 4-star resort with all inclusive, so no money to spend on top, you can understand what I am talking about. Size, but also vertical integration. So how this player can reach this kind of competitive advantage on price? Because most of them are integrated vertically. This is the case of Alpitour that started as a tour operator, so company who build packages, full package to visit a destination, flight, hotels, trip, and other services. And then, with a series of mergers and acquisition, it became a global player with more tour operating brand in order to create a whole package, or also a part of the package that are hotels. So they also own a hotel chain. They sell this product both on the B2B market through the incoming brands and to the B2C through a travel agency network in franchising that probably you know, the Welcome Travel Group. They also own an airline, Neos. So, and they work also in a B2B segment of incentives. Players like this are able to move more than 2 million clients and managing all the part of the value chain internally. So you can imagine the advantage in cost cutting. And consider that Alpitour is at the 10th place in the global ranking. The first one is TUI. TUI is a German multinational that moves 20 million clients every year, so 10 times. So, competing with this huge player, there are also what we call the community destinations. Destinations very small with a lot of issue. The main one is the fragmentation of the offer. So the touristic offer of the destination is made by small player, small or medium enterprises, or probably are micro enterprises. So hotel owner, restaurant owner, and other stuff. That, for their nature, are become a problem for a destination, because small companies don't have money to invest. They are pretty jealous about their strategies. They don't want to cooperate with the neighbor. So each one try to make his part of the business without involving the other stakeholders. The result is that the destination has an offer. There is not a global offer, but a sum of single parts. That is different from how the tourists see the destination. So a tourist that comes, for example, in a city like Mantova, see the destination with a holistic view. So if he has problem with a hotel in Mantova, with a specific hotel, in his mind, he has a low level of satisfaction for the destination of Mantova, not for that player. And so the other problem, of course, is the dimension. So to compete with this huge player, the ideal strategy would be to cooperate, to put together all the resources and to try to get the highest visibility on the market. Public administration in this kind of destinations are trying to play the role of the leader in order to solve this kind of coordination failure. But it's not that easy because of other problems related to the public administration management. So, market pretty complicated, but market that also has opportunities. Opportunities coming mainly from the new customer, from the new tourist. So there's a segment in tourists that is pretty tired of the huge package of the tour operator where everybody does the same things at the same hour in the same place for the same week. But these kind of tourists are more interested in discovering a local or ancient tradition. They are more independent. They look for information on the internet. They use the ICT tools to create a package, to buy the single part of a package. And they are absolutely not loyal with any kind of destination. It's basically the profile of the common customer in many industries. But in tourism, it can become a good target where to work in order to have tourists inside the destination. In Italy, the Italian government is trying to give incentive to the collaborative model. There is a law, pretty famous, of 2001 that gives to the regions the power to decide everything related to tourism in the area. And the region has to invest 30% of the fund they get from the government in the creation of what I call the local tourism systems. So the word system is the key. So they are trying to create network systems of single player to make a destination more coordinated and to get a bigger sites in order to compete better in the market. So also from the funds point of view, there are opportunities for those destinations who want to apply this model and invest on coordination.
Can I ask you one thing about this? Because first thing that comes into my mind if I read something like this is that if you're a region and you have to allocate 30% of funds that you need to do coming from the government to a set of different destinations, I might think that there are conflicts or at least some cannibalization going on across different destinations. So if you take a region like Lombardy, for example, and you want to invest that money looking at the situation of Milan versus Mantua versus other kind of places, I wonder how the specific allocation of funds is decided in terms of who gets most part of the funds and according to which criteria you can allocate those funds.
Well, the answer is that first the destination has to coordinate in one unique player that asks the region for fund. And they did. For example, the province of Mantova, Cremona, Lodi and Pavia created a system called Po di Lombardia. So the province of the Lombardia region were crossed by the Po River. The same in the province of Como, Lecco, with another touristic system that's called Lago di Como, of course. So since they have they create this sort of network with an entity that can ask for fund, after the allocation will be related to the kind of project they present and the development guidelines they ask for finance. For example, this year, funds that, by the way, comes from the European Union are going to finance destination management projects. So projects that has the objective to work on the management of a destination. So project for data analysis, for marketing plan, for everything is bringing more science in the management of a destination that in most of the case is managed with, is not in a properly management way. So, so the answer is having the entity who asks for funds and evaluating their strategy to develop and to compete in the market. Okay, this is the market where we are going to work, and we are, let's say we are consultant of a small community destination, and we have to understand how we can solve this kind of problem and increase our indicators in the tourism area. So if you are a destination manager, mainly you have two weapons to fight inside this market. One is the ICT, so information and communication technologies, and the other one is the collaborative models. ICT has effect both on the consumer side and on the business side. On the consumer side, we have all the phenomena that are under the umbrella of the customer relationship management. So using the ICT, you can get directly to the tourist, ask for information, give information, create personalized offers. So try to differentiate from the tour operator, giving a product more customized for each single tourist. On the business side, ICT support what we call the knowledge management. So ICT infrastructures are able to connect the different stakeholders of a destination to make them share the knowledge that they have and to use this knowledge to better manage this kind of destination. Collaboration, that by the way follow the benefits of the ICT, is the other weapon, and through collaboration we have to reach that size, that economy of scales that can allow us to have a greater visibility and to fight in this kind of global arena. So how can we put these elements inside a model? This is a proposal. This is a model that I developed working as consultant for the province of Mantova. It's sort of a value chain of the destination management and is based on those two elements, ICT and collaboration. Let's try to understand the meaning behind. There's a part of strategy in a model that set the guidelines for the destination to compete. So very complicated market, you can approach only with very, very easy strategy. And strategy is attraction, stay, and return. The three words that make the ASR model. So attraction. You have to find in the market the most part of the best target for your destination. So not every tourist is good for your destination. You have an offer, so you can attract specific targets. So understand which is the best target and go on the market through marketing activities to find and to convince him to come and visit your destination. So first guideline, attract. Second guideline, stay. Since you had the tourist in your destination, you have to do your best to make his stay or her stay as long as you can. Because it's difficult to bring them in the destination. So since he's there, you have to invest on services, on products, giving a lot of opportunities to stay, to visit, to have, to make shopping, to have entertainment, wherever make the customer satisfied and willing to spend more time and then more money inside your destination. Attraction, stay, return. Try to do your best to satisfy your customer. Work on the customer satisfaction, because this customer can be a returning customer if you work on his loyalty. In tourism, the returning concept is a little bit different from the other industry, because not every destination has the opportunity for tourists to come frequently. But if you work on loyalty and on customer satisfaction, you can turn the customer, a happy customer, in a sort of tour operator of your destination, with any friends, relatives, colleagues, wherever he talk about the great experience he had in your destination. So work on customer satisfaction to incentive customer to come back or to send to your destination other customers or other tourists. That's the strategy. These are the 3 guidelines that has to be followed by a destination. How can we follow? Basically with 2 modules. There is what I call a marketing superstructure that basically is an organization that work and manage specific processes with the objective to turn the strategic guidelines in plan, in activities, to plan, to do, and to evaluate. Organization and processes that are based on a 3rd module. There is the ICT infrastructure. That is a composition of different models that support this kind of organization to follow the guideline we told before. If we go deeper in the infrastructure, we see that it's basically a set of single modules that are not very innovative singularly. There is a database, there's an extranet, the delivery platform, business intelligence. So it's software and hardware that you can easily find in a market. So the innovation behind this model is the way they are mixed together in order to reach this kind of objective. So the database is where all the knowledge has to be stored and collected. The extranet is a sort of network that connect all the stakeholders related to the destination management. A multi-channel delivery platform is a set of channels, website, call center, information point, internet kiosk, mobile device that has to deliver your offer to the tourist, but also has to get information from the tourist to put inside a database. And the business intelligence, there is that kind of software that work on data to turn in information and turn the information into intelligence in order to support the decision-making process to follow the strategy. So this is the big picture of the model that try to represent the strategy for the destination management.
Can I just intervene on this?
Sure.
Thinking of the challenge of this model, because to me the attraction part is the easiest one. Okay, so there are different ways in which you can attract tourists to a destination. The stay is a bit more complicated simply because users tend to plan in advance. Mm-hmm. So you have to think in advance in order to allow them to stay there.
Sure.
But the most problematic thing is the return part. You were mentioning the fact that return might mean that the customer returns himself or herself, or that they advertise the destination to others. But these two are two very different ways of returning. Mm-hmm. So do you envisage different strategies that are related to the fact that that particular customer can come back, or that he or she can advertise your products or your services to other customers?
Yeah, there are a lot, because, for example, a strategy to make the customer come back is related to events. So yearly events, like for Mantova Festival della Letteratura, is a driver that bring every year customer to visit the city. So the cities is the same, but the event change every year. So let's try to do one example and one example. So to have returning customer, multi-year events. To have the customer advertising your destination, the most valuable strategy is to use the social network on the web, using photo contests, diary, posts or comments or whatever, make the customer sort of reviewer or advertiser of the destination. In my previous company, we did a photo contest for the Lazio region, and the name was Scatta il Lazio. So the aim of the contest was go to the Lazio that is more unknown, because Lazio is mainly identified with Rome, but there are a lot of cities in the northern and in the southern that are pretty unknown. So we made a sort of a blog and ask people to go in the city and take picture related to themes like food or history or events or traditional and other stuff. And we also didn't advertise that much that kind of contest, because it was a small project of the Lazio region, so they didn't consider strategic this project. But we got a lot of photo from around 4,000 different users, because in the web there's this willingness to talk, to show, to advertise what private content. So people went to Latina, to Frosinone, to Viterbo to take picture and to put in a website. So it was marketing for the destination, because first of all we had a lot of pictures to use for a website. So the Lazio region had the database full of new content that you use to advertise the territory. And second, the destination promoted by other tourists sounds more authentic. So it worked like sort of a driver for other tourists to go and visit these small cities that are not pretty famous for tourists, but they are nice. Then the Lazio region used the best 10 pictures to make a card, like a museum card or whatever, to advertise the. So it has a sequel, but you can do with picture, you can do with storytelling, you can do with video, wherever. Make the customer sort of a big player to share the content that he provides. Okay, here you find a description of the 3 layers of the model. So this model has been applied to a case of Mantova. So we are now going deep inside the model through its application to this destination. Mantova is a small, very small city in Lombardia region, and is located around 200 kilometers southeast from Milano.
How many of you have been in Mantova?
Ah, cool.
3?
Yeah, so the model works because a lot of tourists are going. So pretty small, interesting, because can offer different attraction points. So elements you can work on for the attraction part of the model. Of course, the main is art, because Mantova, thanks to the Gonzaga family domination, had a lot of churches, a museum, and arts inside the monuments. So this is the main attraction point. Also, the nature is... yes, question?
How many inhabitants does Mantova have?
60,000, the city. So it's half size. It's not big, it's not small. And nature is another attraction element, thanks to the river that through what they call the three lakes of Mantova. So you have very nice landscape, you have the opportunity to make sports and also to enjoy the river, the park all along the river with different kind of animals and whatever. But the main elements, while I have been spending 5 years in Mantova, is food, because food is very, very interesting to discover. Is ancient recipes to enjoy, and also Mantova is very close to Emilia-Romagna region, so there are interesting influences from both the food tradition. So in 2005, the assessore, come si tradurrà? The local governor of the destination decided to invest in a new model with a technological soul. So we designed together this kind of strategy, and we start with the implementation of the model. We start with a database, a huge and, of course, electronic database where to store all the information related to the destination. So resources, of course, that means museum, church, lakes, parks, monuments. What is the static part of the destination attraction point? The events, so the dynamic part, all the concert, exhibition, and whatever happens inside the territory of the province. So we are talking about the province of Mantova, not only the city. Small packages like itineraries that join together attraction points and services, and of course services, so hotel, restaurant, transportation, and catering. So all this information put inside a database, a modern database with a relational structure that makes possible to link one content to another one. The second step was to manage the content updating of this database. You know, content has value if it's updated, and keep a huge database updated has a huge workload. So the strategy was to create an extranet, so a network of point of access to share among all the territory. In order to be more effective, the territory in the province has been divided in 4 areas. Each area has, let's say, its touristic identity, because in each area the touristic offer is different. In the red one, where there is the city of Mantova, arts and culture is the most part of the offer. If you go northern, in the green part, here we are very close to the Garda Lake. So tourists in this part of the province are mainly families, most of them coming from Austria and Germany, especially during the summertime, spending a week and looking for entertainment for their kids. If you move southern, here we are in the border with Emilia-Romagna. Here the tourism is more related to food, so wine makers, restaurant, and whatever make people go there to enjoy food. So different part, And in each area, we identify sort of point of the extranet that was the main city with the most interesting touristic attraction. So, of course, for Mantova was the city of Mantova. For the other three areas were the city of San Benedetto Po, city of Sabbioneta, that, by the way, together with Mantova, became a UNESCO heritage last year. And on the green area, it was Castiglione delle Stiviere. In each of these points were located inside the tourist information office. So, in order to have people working on tourist information to insert inside the database and keep updated, but also to take advantage of the information in the database to do advertising to the tourists coming inside the tourist office. So let's explain better this concept.
Sorry, I just interrupt because I think the model is interesting. 2 points on this. I'm not convinced that being in Castiglione delle Stiviere has exactly the same value as being in Mantova. Knowing a little bit the area. But I can see the point of having focal points around different regions. The second point relates a little bit more with what you were saying at the beginning, that the idea of such a model is to exploit the holistic view of the customer within a specific area. What you are doing here is actually creating very specific markets that are somehow focused on specific issues like art, nature, food, or whatever. So how the approach of, a holistic view from the customer side is related to this idea of segmenting the market so that you can add value related to a specific item, let's say, on the agenda.
So for the first point, I'm with you. Castiglione delle Stiviere is not that special, but they have something to show, like, for example, the Museum of the Red Cross. So they have ancient ambulance and nice stuff that is pretty difficult to find somewhere else. And with the holistic view problem, here we are just splitting the problem of content updating. So we are sort of sharing the workload of updating the content, just because content is more valuable if the update is very close to where the information is. So Sabbioneta, for example, is a focal point for all these small towns that organize events that has something to promote. So if anything changes, it's easy for Sabbioneta to know and to update the database. The reason behind the sharing of the workload is that each one has to work in a small part of the system. So each one has his own work to do, but at the same time, each one can benefit of the work of everybody to build a holistic offer of the destination. Because people going to Mantova and visiting them with also good feeling for food can be addressed also to visit San Benedetto or Sabbioneta. So here we are working on the stay part of the model, so giving more option. So here we are not creating cluster, we are just creating target where to send specific customer that have interest in that kind of offer. I think that also going forward through the presentation, we can also clarify some of these themes. So we have the database with information. We have the extranet to keep the information updated. Let's build the channel to make this information flow. to the tourists and also to get information from the tourists. So the first two modules of this platform were the tourist multimedia office and a contact center. We are talking about a platform, so an application for the operators of the information point that support their work in giving information to tourists. So imagine that you are the operator in the tourist point of Sabbioneta, and a tourist is coming to ask information about an event. So through the application, you can get all the information about that event, so the title, the location, the time schedule, price, description, picture, video, and whatever. But also, you can you have other tools that makes you proactive. So if a person is coming to ask information about that event, you can easily suggest also how to reach the city where the event takes place, where to sleep, where to eat, which are the other events that take place in the same city, which are the other city close to that city where you can find something interesting for you. So we are still working on stay. So instead of just seeing one thing, we are promoting more things to see. And this is all automatic and take advantage of the huge quantity of content inside the database. Other feature. This platform is the same for the information office and for the contact center. So if the request comes not from a tourist that visits the information point, but from a tourist that calls or sends a fax or an email to the contact center, the operator can do exactly the same. He can get the information about one item. He can find other items related to that one. He can build a personal package, a personal itinerary for the tourist that can be printed if you are in the information point, or sent via mail or via fax to other devices. There's also an SMS feature to send through a text message a short description of the single item, so not for the itinerary. So if you are calling from your mobile phone asking information about that event, you can get back like 892424, the main information, so phone number, address, and whatever, through this platform. This is useful because it's a new way to make tourism advertising. In most of the tourist office, a tourist comes, asks information, and comes back with a lot of brochures and books and whatever related to everything that probably can interest the tourist. With this approach, you can go and get just your travel program for you that are interested in arts and in sports. So you just have events that fit with your interests, and also the map with the restaurant and the hotel that the operator suggested you, and you can have a better experience. So work on your staying, that could be longer, and on your satisfaction, that could be higher. Here's the structure of the contact center, but it's not very interesting. Okay, let's put another channel to the multi-channel platform. Why we call platform? Because every single channel is integrated to the database. So the same information is provided through different channels to different target of user. Of course, the main channel for tourism, as for many other industries, is the website. A website on the internet to show all the information related to the destination. This is a screenshot of the home page of the website, where mainly you can find this kind of approach in order to make the tourist able to find exactly what he wants. You know, we have a big problem. We have a lot of content, so it can be an overload for a tourist who's visiting the website. So we designed this website to follow, of course, the main guideline of the web marketing, but also to follow the interests of the tourist. So if you are looking for a specific event, restaurant, or hotel, you can just use the search engine that search inside the website and find whatever you want. But if you are a new tourist and you don't know the destination, you can browse the website, for example, following your interests. If you like art and culture, or nature, or food, or sports, you can enter to one of these sections, and the website makes a sort of a small website inside the website with only information related to that interest. So if you enter in arts and culture area of the website, you get the same structure, but you have only events that, when have been input inside the database, got the tag arts and culture. So the resources will be only museum or churches, while if you go in the nature area, you will find parks, you will find river, and so you just go in another environment, and the filter gives you only the information that can fit to your interests. So direct search is one of navigation path. Interest is the second one. There's a third navigation path that is related to the location. Probably you are not interested in something specific, but you, for some reason, are in a specific location of the province. You are visiting the southern, so you want to have information on what is happening, which is the offer in that period, for example, in the Oltrepo. So, entering in one of these areas, again, you have a filter in a content that, in this case, works not on the theme, but on the location. So you will find only events that take place in the town inside this area. Only hotel and restaurant and churches and parks and blah, blah, blah that are in this area. And so each of these area becomes the website, the small website of the area that we said before has its own identity because of the offer it has that attract the tourists interested in that offer. So we have many faces to show the content that is inside, and in order to increase the probability to reach the right target. So remember the strategy: attract the best target for your destination in the right period of the year inside your destination. Let's do something more. Taking advantage of the contact center, we developed some modules that are pretty easy if you understand the technology behind, but that work pretty well. For example, in order to involve all the service provider of the province, and in specific the hotel manager, to ask for the availability of free room inside their structure, we design a module through the contact center that basically is an automatic call. So since Mantova has a tourism mainly concentrated over the weekend, every Thursday night the call center makes automatic phone call to all the hotels that join this kind of experiment, and recorded voice, please digit the number of free room in your structure for the weekend. So is an automatic data acquisition that provide the information of hotel fully booked or hotel with still availability that can be used inside the website, in the tourist information office, or to the operator of the contact center. Another trick like this has been what we call the voice portal. So since in Mantova, in the province, there are a lot of monuments, interesting but small, with no people inside that show you, or not often open, we did this experiment. We assigned one telephone number to each monument, and with a sort of advertising paper, we invite the tourists to call that number in order to get a sort of audio guide of that monument. It basically is a voice message, like the one they leave in your mailbox. But the idea is to give low-cost advertising tools even to the smallest monument or museum inside the province. It can be done with a very low cost, and it also follow some directions that comes from the analysis of tourists in Mantova. Most of the tourists in Mantova are in their 50s or 60s, so are people not young, so they are not so technologically skilled to have a new generation phone, telephone to download an MP3 audio guide to the monument that they are looking for. Here, it's just to make a phone call. Very easy, is a local number, so also from the price point of view should be very cheap. And it's a way also to get more visibility to the monument. The voice message also offer the opportunity to go and listen the program of the events of the week in the city where the monument is. So small elements to increase the global visibility. Other module, internet kiosk. In Mantova, there's a system, a network of the main 32 museums of the province. So they join this network, and they are trying to have more visibility because, again, there are small museums in Castiglione delle Stiviere related to the Red Cross. So Castiglione is far from Mantova, so probably you don't take your car going 50 kilometers north to see just the Red Cross Museum. But if you know that in that city there are also events interesting to take place, there are good restaurants, there are other cities interesting to see, probably you can follow the suggestion to go and visit that city. So, working with the museum network, we design this kiosk to put in each of the 32 museums. Right now there's the first in the headquarters of the system that is located in Mantova, where tourists can have information about the museum. Here is different from the website, but the content is the same. Here the entry point is a museum. You browse through the museum. But reaching the museum description, you can also have information about how to get there, so maps where to eat, where to sleep. So what we said also for the information point, for the website, and whatever. You can even download pictures and video guide using the Bluetooth. So the kiosk has also a Bluetooth port in order to transfer this content. So you can be interested in a museum, you can download the video guide, the 2 minutes video guide that show you the path inside the museum, and you can bring with you in your phone or whatever. So the plan is to put one kiosk in every museum, so that since you get to one of these museums, you also have the opportunity to visit the others. So working on stay, because I see more museums than I was supposed to. Working on satisfaction, because I can enjoy better the museum and their offers. So, turning back to the start of the lesson, we said that collaboration was a strategy to reach a bigger size, to increase the visibility, to reach economy of scales. Well, this model goes exactly in this direction, because after Mantova followed this model, in the same time, the Lombardia region financed one of the local tourism system. That is the system Po di Lombardia, with the province of Mantova, Cremona, Lodi, and Pavia. So the coordinator of the system, looking for something interesting to do to support the destination management, had a look at the Mantova model. So they are replicating the same model of Mantova through inside the Po di Lombardia system. So, which is the advantage for Mantova? That Mantova shared the database also with another website, bigger, where they have more money to do advertising. For example, if you go to the exhibition of tourism in Milano, there is the BIT, there is no stand of Mantova. There is a huge stand of Po di Lombardia, where inside there are Mantova, Cremona, Lodi, and Pavia. So there are more marketing investment on this website, and Mantova benefits of this greater visibility, but without duplicating the activities related to content. So if you are a small event organizer in the city of Castiglione, that now is our favorite city, if you give information to the information point, information means text, pictures, and video, whatever can advertise your event, and this event is inserted in the database, it can be seen through 4 information office, 2 websites, a contact center, a set of internet kiosks. So just you do the work once and you have a greater visibility. The extension is continuing, because since Cremona is a part of the Po di Lombardia system, so Po di Lombardia has a database like Mantova has, where Mantova just transfers automatically the information. The other 3 provinces are putting inside the information in their portion of the database. So Cremona, that had a very old website, but since I have all the information inside the Po di Lombardia database, why don't I extract the information and create my own website? So also Cremona is using this approach. You can see similarity, because they all has navigation through interest, navigation through territory. So this is a proof of the flexibility of the model. They are all different territories, because Cremona, for example, has music as one of the main attractions, because they produce musical instruments. So one theme is music that is not inside Mantova and inside Po di Lombardia. So you can have a customization of the model according to the territory where you are applying, but at the same time you can benefit of the flexibility of sharing all the information among different websites. Okay, so we have all the information in the database, we have an extranet working on the content updating, we have an integrated platform with different channels to reach different targets of tourists that are different because they like different stuff, because they are different because they are in different phases of the life cycle of their trip organization. Because if the tourist is in his home looking for information of a destination, you can reach him through the website and the contact center. So you can give information when he is far from the destination to attract. When the tourist is inside the destination, you have again the contact center, the 4 information points, the kiosk, the voice portal to give other information that are the same, so is consistent. And that works on the stay part of the model. So he can get information wherever he is and with the device he likes to use. And same for the return, because you can increase the satisfaction. You can also publish community tools, social networking tools, in order to ask people who visit Mantova to post the picture of their vacation, to tell the story of the last festival of letteratura, turning the customer in a storyteller, for example. You can work on this kind of stuff. So you are able to provide the best information to the best target in the best device you like. But this system is not a one-way system for information. All these channels provide information, but also gather information from the tourist. Analyzing, for example, the navigation on a website, you can understand which are the main interests of the tourists in that part of the year. Studying the map of all the phone number called related to the museum, you have a map of how that kind of tourist is moving around the territory. Contact center and the information point are a contact point where the operator asks information to the tourists, calling the call center or visiting the information point. So they deliver a survey to have information. They ask pretty easy information, like if it's the first time in Mantova, which is the purpose of the trip. They take note of what the tourists ask, if it's ask information about events, about restaurants. So this is a system that also produces interesting information to share with the final module of the ICT platform, that is what we call the business intelligence. So tools to analyze this data to support the decision-making process. Here is some screenshot of information about, for example, the demand according to the country of origin of the tourists. We have an idea of where the tourists come from. Mainly, we know there are Italian tourists. From Italy, they come from the northern part, so from Lombardy, from the other northern region. we also have information about the offer, because having all the events inside the database, you can also analyze the kind of events, since each event is tagged with the main category. So, for example, you know that in 2006, most of the offer were related to culture event, and the other part was entertainment. And this percentage is changing during the year. And inside the block, you have information about how many, for example, music events or theater events you have. So, studying the offer, you have the idea of which kind of target you can attract. So this is another important information for a destination manager. Again, number of hotels and number of beds that are offering. Here we are seeing increasing, for example, of bed and breakfast and country house. This is an important element, because those are solution more for young people who like to go around and visit the city, but also to they prefer this kind of solution instead of the hotels. So you have also the idea of which you can offer, which kind of target you can attract.
Can I ask you one thing? Because being an economist tries to understand the real impact of the innovation on this particular sector. I was wondering, you're showing us a picture with a little bit of dynamics, but still one might tell you, well, you know, there has been a lot of advertising, even beside the platform that you've shown us. So the fact that more people, for example, are going to the region or to Mantova or to the province might be due to simple increase in advertisement made by or promoted by the region or by the council or on other sources than the platform that you were showing us. This is the first question. The second one is, what is the real role of customer feedbacks? Because to my understanding, the platform is really powerful for the stay part of the story. Okay, attraction works in a way, but what about the impact in terms of return or in terms of storytelling that you were suggesting might be a valuable tool for this particular case?
Okay, first question. I'm with you that indicators in tourism are increasing in Mantova, and it is not only because of the platform, but it's also because of the platform, because every advertising made by the region, by the province, can find in the platform sort of enable something that improve, that make that investment more valuable. So right now we can't understand which kind of arrivals come from the advertising through the platform and other kind of advertising. But is something that can be interesting or not. The reason behind is to give a support to any advertising investment made by the public administration through this modern approach to the tourism. Related to customer satisfaction, right now we are monitoring the satisfaction through mainly two indicators. One is related to survey that have been delivered through the tourist information offices. So survey that gives very interesting information about satisfaction that is high. Another tool that we use to evaluate satisfaction is what we call the Web Reputation Index, that unfortunately I didn't bring in this presentation, but I can show because I have in my PC. And basically works with people from our structure who browse all the website where tourists can express feedback around the destination, and selecting all the feedback related to Mantova. So from Turisti per Caso to the travel channel of Corriere della Sera, to social networking website like ciao.it or whatever. There are spontaneous feedback given from people who went to the destination. So, and this is more powerful as information because, you know, a customer survey delivered in a tourist information office where probably the tourist had a good experience because the operator was very skilled and gave information in a very professional way. Okay, it's a good feedback, but it's also in a certain point not authentic. The feedback coming from independent website where people spontaneously go there and write comments around the city are more powerful, and also this index that is related to comment on the website, the feedback on the hotels. So going to Venere or hotels.com or Expedia, we select all the hotel in Mantova, and we see the average result of the feedback from the customer. These are other information that give us the perception of the customer satisfaction. And even in that index, there are high level of points. So it's different sources, but the message is the same. So they are doing a good job, and as we can find this information on the website, other tourists can. So other tourists can go to Venere to book a hotel in Mantova and find this positive feedback. Okay. Again, this is a work that we did in the answer to the survey. We are able to identify the strengths and the weaknesses. On the strength, probably you can't read, but there is a professional and professionality of the operators of the tourism information. While, for example, on the weaknesses, there are parking spots. It's impossible to park in Mantova. Information through, the automatic panel that you can find in the streets, and public bathroom. So you can find also very easy stuff. But it's important also for the public administration to understand what the tourists are looking for. Also to have an idea of something that everybody knows, but no one has the time to write down to understand how many ask about that problem. The information are also viewed with a deep analysis of each territory. So again, we find the first subdivision of the territory, but we can see the different indicators for all the territory. For example, if we see in the arrivals, we know, for example, we can see in 2007 the part of the arrivals coming from north increased instead of the center. So this is a phenomenon that we are seeing. So the north structure is working very, very well with a lot of arrivals, while the center is pretty suffering. But again, instead of having a holistic view that is good for the tourists, also having information by territory can help local investment in order to improve that issue that show up from the observatory. We go quickly to the other two modules of the model. The operative marketing superstructure. We said it's a set of processes that use all the information produced by the ICT infrastructure. Basically, processes are data analysis, so gathering and analyzing data, segmentation and promotion. So data are analyzed, but also there is continuous sharing about the results coming from the observatory. And the sharing is among the organization that lead this process that we call the destination management organization. In Mantova and then in the other territory that are adopting this kind of model, the organizative model is has a sort of a steering committee where inside there is the province, the chamber of commerce, that is very important to involve the service provider, and the town hall of the main town of the province. So they work all together, and here we can see collaboration. So they sit every 3 months in the same table, looking, analyzing the data coming from the ICT infrastructure and deciding together what to do and where to invest the money. So this is a model complicated because, you know, every public administration has its own ideas and jealousy and whatever. But as for my experience, what I can see is that having data in a table is a way to be clear and to look all together the same information. Because if you talk about what you think is the tourism, it's complicated to find a focus point. But if you work on data that are there with graphs and statistics, it's easier to find a solution. So this steering committee also involve the other local authorities and also the private sector. So we used to have meeting, for example, with the association of the hotel owners. One result of this meeting was that automatic call system that we made together with them, because we need that kind of information from the hotels. But no one was able to have a website to put inside the information related to the free room, or they don't have time, and so forth. But using this automatic call, they have just to pick up the phone, digit on the keyboard the number of rooms, and hang up. So again, with the discussion and the idea or brainstorming, a good solution came up. Important role is also played by an external company that, by the way, was my company, the company I work with since 4 months ago. Because, you know, it's public administration, so skills or management ideas are a little bit, you know, confused. So having an external service provider who work as consultant, who bring the idea, who take the responsibility to turn the idea into database, extranet, website, kiosk, and whatever, is an important support. Because in this way, they only have to understand which is the problem and put the money. So they don't have to get skill about technology, skill about marketing, or whatever. Of course, they have the results of these investment, but they can understand where the investment idea comes from, and they can sort of touch the final result. Last, let's try to use some indicators to evaluate the 3 strategic guidelines that we see, that we saw at the start, the description of the model. To evaluate the attraction, we use the arrivals. As we said before, it's not true that arrivals are increasing because Mantova has this platform. But it's not false, because the destination has a greater visibility, has more channels to reach tourists. And by the way, we start in 2005. There is a light green bar where tourism was going up and down with no trend of growth. After 2005, arrivals start growing. So in 2005, 2008, arrivals go up 24%. Can be the platform, cannot be, but at the end, the final result is the important. And probably a good part of this data comes from the platform and from the model above the platform. For the stay, we used to track the overnight staying. So I don't know if you know the statistic in tourism. If a person go to a hotel, he's a +1 for the arrivals. If he stays 3 nights, he's +3 in the overnight staying. So increasing of overnight staying means that people stay longer in the destination. So it can be a good indicator for the stay strategic guideline. And even in the stay, we had a more evident decrease since 2005 over the overnight stay. And then the statistics grow up again. So +31%. Probably they have better hotel. Probably they have lower price. But also, having the opportunity for the tourists to know that there is something more in the destination. There are a lot of events in a whole province and not only in the main town, can be an incentive to stay longer and to visit more of the destination. Final result, return. We use the customer satisfaction as an indicator. 82% of tourists visiting the information point and filling up the survey say that they are very much satisfied about the destination. Again, probably is about for the model and destination, probably not, but the pictures show good results of the destination in the tourism segment. And the other important result of this model is that the local system, Poli Lombardia, and the province of Cremona, and in the following years also Lodi and Pavia is going to follow this approach. This is a good proof that model is working and provide advantage to the destination who invests on it. Okay, it's time for the final discussion. What can we learn from this model that basically is very, very focused on the tourism industry, but that has something that can be applied also in other industries? Okay, the first message is that we are living in the era of information overload. Content is everywhere. So, world is full of content provider. In this kind of arena, can be a good investment to invest on the platform instead of the content. A platform to connect all these content providers, to give the opportunity to put the content in a structured way and to use the content through several channels. If you think Google or YouTube or any social network website is an investment on the platform to make the content provider able to provide content. So invest on the platform instead of the content, and content will come. This is one discussion that can we have after the presentation. Second point, in all those industries or competitive arena where there is a fragmentation of sources, the best approach is the bottom-up approach. If you're working in a context with the content source fragmented and you decide a model and force from the top to down to use that model, the probability to have a failure is very high. This is what happened with the Italia.it website. So this is not only my opinion, so I can share with you, but the approach should be the mentor one. So starting from the base, getting all the information, and then filter to create a top website. What it is to define the structure of a unique platform without involving no one in the territory, and forcing down to the base to use. And it doesn't work because in this kind of situation, the bottom-up is also a way to collaborate. And again, to reach economy of scales, to share and whatever, takes advantage to a sum of single units that has a value higher than the sum of the values. Third point, ICT. ICT is a driver to get also collaboration, to develop collaborative model. Social networks are the best example of ICT that creates sort of a network through people in order to collaborate together. And ICT is the best environment because it offers the opportunity to share a knowledge that is shared among single units, but it can be can converge in a unique point and then used by everyone. And this is what happened with the model in Mantua, where each node of this network has to do just a part of the job, and then can take advantage of the all work done by the entire network. Okay, thank you very much for your attention, and hope is something interesting for your knowledge, and I'm here for any questions or information related to this model.